back there. Thank you. Welcome everyone to our first Friday forum. So today we were originally going to have Lori Berman, our Senator Lori Berman from Tallahassee, give us an update on what happened at the legislative session. But the legislative session continues, as Willie would know, and Michael and Kay and other people that are paying attention. So she's still up in Tallahassee hammering out the budgets. I think they're very close to that. So we might be able to hear from her in the future. But we're very happy that Jeff Oris, our assistant city manager, graciously stepped in to give us an update on what's going on with the city. And I do have a list of questions for you. We'll see if you hit all the ones that I want to talk to you about. But I'm going to hand it over to Jeff without further ado.
Oh, we're not wasting any time here, are we?
No, we're moving today.
Good morning, everyone. I have a whole bunch of things to update you on. I don't know if I have some things in any particular order, but I want to start out with two really great things for the city. One, of course, is that the city was able to win a bid to host a second round of the Davis Cup at our tennis stadium.
Oh, wow.
So that's happening September 12th to 14th. So it's always great when we get to see some of those non-regular events happen at the tennis stadium, and we bring a whole bunch of people to the city for those type of events. We're very excited about that. A second thing I can add, if you're not already aware, the city has been named a finalist in the All-American City Awards yet again. So there's a contingent of about 9 or 10 of us from the city who will be going to make our final presentation to their jury on this at the end of this month in Denver, and hopefully we will come back victorious and bring a fourth award to the city. We seem to be averaging about one a decade now, so we don't want to break that streak. So we're all very excited about that possibility, and we're looking forward to making that trip and coming home, hopefully with another award. There's a number of things.
Are you going to that?
That's the end of the month. So I believe we make the presentation on June 27th. So, and we'll know before we leave Denver whether we've achieved our goal or not. Excuse me there. A couple other things. The city's working on a number of major projects, some that are quite overdue, and we finally found the method to undertake them. One is we're in the initial stages of coming up with the full plan for the Delray Beach Golf Course. This has been one of those ones been hanging out there for a number of years of what do we do? How do we do it? The city right now is undertaking a rate study for fees for the course to determine how we'll support a borrowing to update the course, as well as we'll be working on some of the infrastructure that exists on the course for elsewhere. The city does have some water transmission and structures out there, so we want to make sure those are taken care of as well as the surface of the course, the clubhouse, and the other amenities there. So that becomes a little bit more updated of a facility, a little bit more worth the time, effort, and money of our golf community to participate in what really should be a great gem for the city to have that municipal golf course. Along those lines of big projects, we also are continuing to work on the water treatment plant. Our water treatment plant is well overdue to be replaced, particularly seeing some new federal requirements related to PFAS chemicals and some other more stringent regulations that have been put on the water treatment plants for what's in the water. Unfortunately, this has caused the anticipated cost of the plant to increase. Originally, we were thinking about $140 million. It's basically doubled since then. We're looking at somewhere about $270 to $280 million. The city will be looking to do a revenue bond based on water revenues to finance that, of course, as we should. We're currently in the process of design, and we just went through a rate study for that and unfortunately had to increase water rates to be able to support that borrowing. But once we have it up and going, we will probably have the most state-of-the-art water treatment plant in all of South Florida. We will be meeting all federal requirements and it will be quite some time before we have to build another one then. So we are looking forward to having that, to being able to serve the residents with the best quality of water that we can provide. Certainly, Hassan Hajimeri, our utilities director, is really doing a great job in getting that project moving and staying on top of it and making sure that we get the most and biggest bang for our buck. Sounds like a lot of money because it is, but we will also make sure that we're cost efficient in doing that and that we really are getting what we're paying for and not wasting any money. The city is also working on a roadway project, more than a roadway project, an entire neighborhood rebuild almost in the Tropic Isle neighborhoods. That neighborhood was really built basically on muck. It wasn't demucked, and if you drive that neighborhood, it's got some beautiful homes in it, but it rides like a roller coaster. So we need to get in there, rebuild the roads, replace utilities, make sure that we stabilize everything that's going on out there. Missy Barletto, the Public Works Director, has done a fabulous job of getting about $19 million towards that project from the state out of a resiliency grant. Representative Frankel, who's been a great friend to the city over the years, has just submitted that project also for about $5 million in funding. We got our fingers crossed that'll get fully accepted and move forward. So we're really doing a great job with some of our large, particularly expensive projects and seeking other people's money, which is, of course, my favorite kind of money. So we don't have to burden our taxpayers with all of the costs. We can spread it around from some of the other sources we can find funding. As I said, Missy's done a great job in bringing in some big money for that, as well as we're looking at a similar rebuild project in the Northwest neighborhood. That project would be soup to nuts. That would be everything from underground utilities to overhead streetlights to rebuilding the roads to stormwater. And we're currently taking a look at that project, looking for design as well as looking for other people's money again to undertake that project. That's going to become more and more of a challenge with some of the doings at the federal level, particularly as we wait to see what the federal government will do as far as requirements on federal dollars. There is a little concern that they will be easing up a little on money going to lower moderate income neighborhoods, which is one of the things, particularly in the Northwest, that we kind of bank on, is that is one of those areas that is always been qualified for those funds. So we'll keep our fingers crossed that they don't change anything on that. Our federal lobbyist was recently in town. We took him on a tour of all these facilities so that he can speak very organically with the folks in Washington about what our needs are and why we need. So it was a very fruitful visit, and we do have our fingers crossed that we'll be able to find some funding for the Northwest neighborhood as that project progresses. While we stay in the Northwest neighborhood, we're shortly getting underway with the Pompey Park renovation, another one that's been on the list for a long time. The funding's there through our friends at the CRA. The project is essentially designed and ready to go, and it shouldn't be too much longer before we see us fully underway with that. Again, a public works project. I don't know how Missy and her gang do it. They've got a lot of things on their plate, and they're really moving the city ahead with some of these things. It's really, really great to see. Water treatment plant, Northwest neighborhood, Pompey Park. We're also in the middle of an impact fee study. Something the city probably should have done 30 years ago is we're undertaking an impact fee study to determine what are appropriate fees to charge new development for their impacts on the community. The idea behind an impact fee is that when a new development comes in, they're essentially immediately paying for their immediate impact on services. So if a new large 400 unit condominium or rental project is built on Congress Ave, for instance, there'll be a per unit fee or square footage fee for their impact on police, fire, and some of our other services, so that with those added residents, we'll be able to afford the infrastructure we need to serve them, such as police cars, fire vehicles, if a new fire station is warranted. This is not a fee that would go on existing residents or existing development. It would be on new development or expanded development only. So we're hoping to have that done somewhere about November, December, and to bring it to the commission to decide whether that's something they want to implement or not. By the way, we can do all the studies in the world. If the commission doesn't agree that this is a good way to move forward, it's up to them to decide. So we'll be bringing that forward shortly as well. We're also in the process of looking at all our building fees and such to determine if they're appropriate. That world has changed so much, and the way we review things has changed so much. We need to make sure that we're not overcharging for permits. It's in no way, shape, or form an effort to increase fees. It's actually an effort to make sure that our fees are appropriate. State statute requires us to spend fees that we're collecting through building permits on the building department. In the past, we might sweep anything that might be left over into the general fund. We are not allowed to do that anymore, and thus we need to make sure that we are charging appropriately. We'll also look at whether we add some fees along the way to pay for some of those things that might have been paid by building fees in the past. There are some planning and engineering reviews in a building permit that can no longer be paid by the building permit. So we'll look at those, but again, I don't think we anticipate any of those fees overall for any kind of building to increase. We expect a little restructuring of it perhaps, but definitely are not expecting an increase. I'm going to work my way down to those things that are very much business related now. I want to talk about one of the things that the fire department is currently doing is they are really restructuring a little as it relates to emergency preparedness. They have named a new assistant chief for emergency preparedness, and David Garcia, who's really passionate about emergency preparedness. I really like the way he's approaching this. The fire department has recently updated and re-released its hurricane preparedness guide specifically for 2025, and also has a small business hurricane continuity planning guide. This is something really every business in the city should get a hold of. It can be found in the city's website off the fire department's page, right there under emergency management. Both of those documents are there and can be downloaded. Really important that everybody knows. I think we're kind of in a lull right now because we haven't seen a major hit in a very long time. We probably haven't been really impacted much prior to those storms in the early 2000s. I'm personally a little concerned that we've fallen into this lull, and if something does happen, we're not really prepared for it. So I encourage all of the businesses as well as residents to prepare for a hurricane and take it seriously. Chief Garcia is doing a great job of getting the city up to speed. We're getting ready to do some internal drills and such and upcoming to be prepared ourselves and to know what we're doing. And I really do encourage everybody to download those documents and be prepared. And if you have any emergency management questions, certainly reach out to the fire department. They're willing to answer any questions that are possible. And honestly, Stephanie, you may want to have Chief Garcia on at some point on your first Friday to talk about hurricane preparedness for business. I think that'd be a great topic.
That's a great idea.
Along those lines, we had our small business expo 2 weeks ago. Went fairly well. We had a nice turnout. We always encourage more and more people to do. The purpose of our small business expo is one, to expose our small businesses to some knowledge. We bring in Jackie was one of our speakers, Jackie from the SBDC, talk about the services they provide. I'm still absolutely amazed as I wander our city and I talk about the SBDC and how they provide great services at that wonderful cost of nothing. And it's worth far, 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 far more than what you pay for it. Really incredibly valuable service that they provide. And there's still people in our community don't know about. It really is amazing to me at how much we talk about it. And we're still reaching out to people who go, where do I find them? What do they do? How much does it cost? Amazing service that's available here in our own city. And it's available for free to these folks, and they're not taking advantage. Jackie, I'm really hoping you got some calls after that Small Business Expo, and some people are reaching out to find out how they can run their businesses a little bit better and more efficiently.
We are, so thank you very much, Jeff. Yeah.
That's really great. The other really important part of our Small Business Expo is we bring representatives of every city department there, and they're representatives that buy things. It's our purpose that people who attend will go around. We set up the table, we set up our departments and tables around the gym at Pompey Park, and we ask everybody to interact with them, find out what they buy, how they buy it. These are the people, because we're talking about small businesses, I don't expect most of those folks in the room to be going after our $2-3 million RFPs. But I do expect that our departments can reach out to them for quotes for anything that we might do between $10 and $65,000. That's really the group that's impacted there. The folks that were in the room are the people who make those purchases. They are the purple by our purchasing requirements. If we're buying something under $2,500, we only need to get a single quote. If it's between $2,500 and $65,000, we need to get 3 quotes and then go with the most responsible of those. That leaves a lot of leeway for staff. But one of the problems we have is our small businesses just aren't known to our staff. And staff doesn't always go to purchasing and get the list of everyone who's qualified in that realm. They know firms, so they reach out. So the Small Business Expo is designed so that anybody who shows up can interact with those folks who do the purchasing. And I and other members of the staff strongly encourage those folks that the next time you're buying $4,000 worth of screws and nuts, did you bump into somebody at a Small Business Expo that does that? Get a quote for them. Doesn't mean that it's going to be the one that wins, but give them a shot. You never know. And we had a great example I used last year when we did our Small Business Expo. We had a woman in the room who did novelty items, for lack of better, shirts, swag. We do tend to give away some swag here and there. And I was telling everybody, a lot of our departments will order from a catalog. The catalog company is based in California. Sometimes those items don't show up on time if we've ordered something for a specific event. How does that compare to the woman who's right up the road, who has the same items because she orders from the same people? And if they're not in on time, you're going to get a lot more service from her than you're going to get from the catalog company in California. So those are the sort of things we encourage our staff to do, the type of businesses we encourage our staff to utilize, and hopefully we will enlarge our stable of local businesses that we, the city, do business with. We
Jeff, I
will
love that.
probably.
Can I interrupt you quickly? If they didn't make it to the expo, which is brilliant, you do always do a brilliant performance at these expos. I love it. But if they didn't make it to the expo, how do they get in touch with the city or the right people in procurement or understand how to sign up to be considered?
Actually, the most important thing for any business that wants to do business with the city, it's to register as a vendor. If you go to the city's website and jump from there onto the purchasing web page on our site, it will show you how to register as a vendor, and it's very simple. And what we use that list, first of all, we cannot contract with anybody who's not on the vendor list. Often we go through RFPs, people are not on the list, they get on the list before we can actually sign the contract. But where that vendor list comes in handy is, one, when we do an RFP or any formal solicitation, it automatically goes to anybody who's registered in that particular class for that product. So you will automatically get notification of our RFP. As for those minor purchases, those under $65,000, if I'm in fleet and I need some specialized car part or parts, I might call purchasing and say, hey, give me the list of registered businesses. That's where it starts. They can't go off, wouldn't go off that to someone else until they've looked at that list first. So if you're not on the list, you won't be considered. It doesn't mean you will be considered, but it definitely means you won't be considered. So we ask everybody to just wander by the purchasing webpage off the city's website and put in that information of who you are and your classification codes for the products and services that you provide, so that's the first step. After that, it really is making sure you're connecting with the department that makes those types of purchases. Our Small Business Expo is the perfect place to do that because those folks are already in the room and they're there for the purpose of connecting with the businesses and learning what they do and how they do. Ironically, I used car parts. I did not intend to do this, but I know there was one business at our expo this year that was that sold car parts. They scheduled an immediate meeting with the fleet director right after the Small Business Expo. They did that at the Small Business Expo. They talked to the public works folks who said, "Oh, well, you need to meet our fleet director." They immediately set up that meeting, and it happened right after the Small Business Expo was over. So they're not even wasting time with these things. We're really trying to make it happen. Along those lines, we've also partnered with the chamber as well as the DDA and the CRA to start trying to talk about how we all can come together and sponsor more things for businesses. I recently talked to Stephanie about what we do next and how we put together a nice little seminar series for some of our businesses just on the services that can be provided. Our economic development manager, Rob Evans, is working on some of our potential topics. We always welcome input from the business community on what you would like to see from us. We don't want to be doing this top down. We really want to be getting input on what the business community wants us to help provide to them. So at any time you have any ideas, please share with Stephanie, to share with me, or reach out to me directly with any ideas you may have. We're happy to see what we can do, and hopefully we can meet your expectations and exceed them on what the city can do to help people operate their businesses and disseminate proper information so that everybody's doing. Listen, I know how tough it can be. I had my own consulting business at one time, and I kind of threw up my hands the day I got 14 letters from the IRS in one day. So I understand it could be frustrating. By the way, that was just simply because I didn't file a form I was not required to file because I was the sole employee. But you sit there and go, what the hell is this about? And you start freaking out, and I'm calling my accountant going, what's going on? So, we want to make sure that our businesses understand where to go if that happens to them, what type of professionals they need, and those things that the city may be able to do to help in operating and running a business. I know sometimes we're seen as an impediment, but we want to be a friend. We want to be helpful and do the best that we can. It doesn't suit anybody's needs if we're an obstacle or perceived as an obstacle to undertaking your business activities. One of the other things we did a little while ago that I'm kind of excited about myself, this is one of my pet projects. The city got some funding through an opioid settlement agreement, a global opioid settlement agreement. We're getting funds from an overall court case about the damage that was done to our society because of the opioid crisis comes from CVS and Walmart and some of the drug manufacturers. We've come up with a basic way to spend some of the dollars we have in hand right now. And one of the projects, one's my little pet project that I really thought was important, is we are going to move forward with a project to provide Narcan and Narcan education to our downtown restaurants. So what this means is Narcan, most anybody can find Narcan for free right now. But what we'll provide is, actually, I have one here. The boxes that Narcan goes in. Plus, we're looking to find a nonprofit that can do training with the restaurant staff on here's what to look for, here's how to administer Narcan. It's kind of one of the things that's not well known in the city. It is our restaurants are places where people tend to go after they've utilized illicit drugs, and so we have had some overdoses locally. And Narcan can prevent death or prevent longer term effects from an overdose. So we're happy to provide that to our restaurants to start. Hopefully we can expand that outside of the downtown and to other businesses that see lots of people walking in and out, so that no one dies in our downtown or in our city because of an overdose that could have been prevented. So we're looking forward to that. Along those same lines, we're also going to put Narcan in some of our public spaces, perhaps around Old School Square or other places where anybody can find it. The interesting thing too is, and I hate that we have to do this, but it is good for the public. If somebody feels that they need Narcan at home, they'll be able to go up to any of these public boxes and take some and take it home. We're not inventorying to see who takes it or when it's used. It's there for the use of the public. We'll replenish it. It's no big deal. So people will be able to have their stash if they feel they have a loved one or a friend who might be in trouble sometime, and that's something they should have at their home. Um, that's okay. That's okay if they take from the public stash and bring it home. The city is also in the process of making sure we're properly enforcing all of our valet agreements. Some of those valets have taken a little bit of liberty over time, so we want to make sure that everybody's following the agreements they have. We want to make sure that they're using the space they have, that they have the appropriate signage that they're supposed to have, and so that it doesn't interfere with our pedestrians and the way that downtown's operating. One of the other big issues, it's hit downtown, but it does affect the entire city, and again, restaurants mostly. Illicit discharge. I'm sure you've heard we've violated several restaurants downtown. It's a very large fine for cleaning out your dumpster, cleaning floor mats, and having that residual water go into the stormwater drainage system. So we're in the process of putting together written materials as well as a in-person educational program through code enforcement to tell people what the requirements are for illicit discharge, to make sure that people are not washing these types of things into our storm drains, which ultimately end up in the intercoastal and the ocean, have the potential for the city to also incur very large fines from EPA if we're found with illicit materials in our stormwater system. So we're trying to make sure that everybody's aware of their responsibilities, that we can provide a list of friendly chemicals and cleaning compounds, and really make sure that everybody's aware so that no one has any kind of an enforcement problem, whether it be the businesses, the restaurants, or the city moving forward. Along the line of code, the one I think is probably my final thing really is that code has adjusted their work schedule. We now have code enforcement officers on from 7 a.m. to midnight every day of the week. Our Director of Neighborhood and Community Services, Jerry Pryor, has done a great job in reallocating her schedule to make sure that she is using the existing staff and spreading them out amongst times that our workers actually want to work, as well as times that were not covered before. A lot of times, if there was an issue on the weekend or in later hours, we might have to call someone in for overtime to handle the item. We no longer have to do that. We will have coverage. There will be people on duty during those hours. So a great reallocation of resources to make the widest possible coverage, to make sure that we can handle all of the issues that go on in the city so that we're all unobstructed in undertaking our business or enjoying our time in our city, you know, when we're out there having fun. So I think I kind of got everything that was on my list to cover. Certainly I can answer any questions that are out there, or your giant list that I'm really prepared for.
Well, I mean, Jeff, thank you. That was a very wide-ranging and comprehensive overview of what's going on at the city. And when I think about all the topics that you covered, it's really incredible. So I'm very appreciative of you coming on today. And there are already questions, and we already got hands raised. So one quickly from the chat, Kay just wants to know, she assumes that police still use Narcan whenever they're called out. Right?
Certainly. And by the way, I forgot to mention as well, another very important happening in our city. I don't know how I forgot this one. Chief Major has submitted his resignation. Not a surprise. The police department had their annual police gala hosted by the Delray Citizens for Delray Police last Friday. And the chief had mentioned that his wife, who was a police officer in Coral Gables, had just retired as of last Saturday. So he submitted his resignation this week. It didn't come as a surprise to me because of that. You know, certainly we wish him the best. He and his wife, I'm sure, will go find some fun things to do. The city manager has already appointed Assistant Chief Daryl Hunter as interim chief, and we will be undertaking a national search for a permanent police chief.
That was on my list of questions. Thank you for addressing that.
Sorry, I forgot to write that one down on your list. It happened late yesterday, so.
No, I didn't want to bombard you with that one. But anyway, Michelle Lutz from the Kieran Foundation has a question for you.
Hello. Yes, I'm Michelle, and thank you, Jeff, for your time and for the overview. And congratulations on the Davis Cup and also being in the running for an All-American city. That's
Thank
great.
you.
And also, I want the idea about putting Narcan in restaurants is really brilliant. So kudos to you and your team, and also for making it more publicly available. As I've been reading, the widespread availability of Narcan has really been associated with the decline in overdoses. So thank you for that. And I'll just mention, and I can follow up with you or Stephanie offline, but I work for Caron Treatment Center. It's a 501c3 nonprofit, and we treat substance use disorder, opioid use disorder, et cetera, provide a full continuum of care. And we have people on staff who can do Narcan training. So I'd be happy to follow up with whomever if we can be helpful to the community on that. So thank you for your service.
Thank you, Michelle, and I'm sure I'll be reaching out to you shortly because you've offered.
Okay. Well, I've offered to investigate, but I think that that's something that Caron would be very happy to do to serve the community. So thank you.
And I'm sorry to bog everybody down with this one, but Michelle, I may also ask for your help there. We created an opioid settlement advisory committee to help the commission decide how to utilize our funds in the future. I have 2 seats for medical professionals that I could really use some help filling. I'm having a hard time finding people for that.
Sure.
I'll reach out to you offline. Thank you.
Thank you.
I love it when work gets done on these calls. That's excellent. So let's open it up to the viewers to see if you have any specific questions for Jeff while we've got him here. It's a great opportunity.
I have a question, Steph. David Beal. So Jeff, thanks for the great report. Very comprehensive. I got a question. I don't know if it's directed to you or Amy, but as I was walking downtown yesterday and saw the beautiful project Sundy House property, I guess my gaze went across the street to the old Docks property and the eyesore it's been for so many years. What is the story and what is the update and when is that going to happen?
I know there was an approval on that property. It really ends up being up to the owner whether they're going to move forward with it or not. The development approval has a lifespan, and Amy, if you want to jump into listening, if you know any more about it, we certainly could use your input.
Right. No, the approval still stands. They received an extension, and that's really all we know. So, I mean, if there's anything that needs to be checked out as far as code enforcement to make sure that the existing buildings in the property are being maintained, we can look at that to make sure it's compliant, especially with the historic ordinances. But the approval is still valid. That's all we know at this time.
Yeah, as long as that approval is valid, there's not much we can do except make sure that they're maintaining the property properly.
When is the extension up, Amy?
I believe it's quite a while because of how the emergency declaration extensions are allowed through the state statutes. So I think they've actually got another 3, maybe 4 years at most. Yeah. We love that process.
Yeah, for those of you who don't know, essentially a development approval has a lifespan. The state legislature has provided for a system that whenever there's an emergency situation, a pending hurricane or such, they can ask for an extension because of that emergency situation, and they are quite generous with those. And there's nothing we locally can do about that.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else have questions before I chime in?
Jeff, it's Michael Weiner.
Hey, Michael.
You mentioned about the dumping problem. Maybe you've heard that once again the sewer system backed up in downtown Delray. We're not sure if it was as a result of the construction with Sunday House, and I think there's another project behind Sunday House, but it's this is the 3rd time in less than 2 years, and we scope our lines because we know that these things occur and we want to be able to demonstrate that, the lines under the building are okay. It's becoming a difficult situation. For example, we have a dental practice, and you can imagine what a smell or a backup in a environment that has to be to that level of sanitation, what that does to them. I don't know if any of this money is available, or if, other than this was on First and on Swinton and in that general block, mostly around Elizabethas, but I don't know what the origins are. I'm just wondering, are we having backups in other places, especially when I hear about the fact that the restaurants are unable to maintain their grease traps and have these kinds of events with respect to water? Has it been? Is it? Am I unlucky enough that we're just in a couple of blocks, or is it elsewhere?
Tell you this, I have not heard of others, but I'm not going to say that means that they didn't happen. I'm going to look into that with our utilities director. And Michael, I can reach out to you offline if I find out something different.
I really appreciate that, because you know that complaints are not what I like to do. I like to be a cheerleader, so I appreciate it. Thank you. When you talked about the restaurants, sometimes, and heaven knows we have a great relationship with the restaurants, but it's something they just don't watch. And if it's really impacting our sewer system, we shouldn't have to spend tens of millions, if not hundreds of millions of dollars to upgrade our underground systems if there's a way to address it easily. So that's it. Thanks. I'll talk to you offline.
And I'll reach out to our utilities and find out what's going on. And like I said, I'll let you know. I'll let Stephanie know as well, so she can share with everybody else if there's something that I'm unaware of and I'm made aware of.
Thank you. Anything else while we've got him here? Okay, the only one thing
often, but
I know. Just one more thing I want to mention is the Planning and Zoning has issued a new streamlined online permitting process. So there's a lot of information going on about that. Did you want to say anything about that quickly?
Yeah, I was going to say that, and I'm going to ask Amy, are you prepared to talk a little bit about the weekend where we're taking care of that, or do you want me to just kind of give the basics?
Basics, but we did have a presentation that is available on the city's website on Monday. That was pretty thorough, that Anthea provided. We invited many applicants and members of the public to come in person, but then again, it was also live streamed, so it's also available for a more thorough, detailed explanation on it all.
And that is essentially that we're putting more online, and we're going to require permitting to be online now. So we're expanding our system into our development approvals, as well as some code enforcement items. It's all going to be part of our online system. The development services is essentially going on sort of lockdown for a weekend, plus a day or so on either end, to update the system and make sure that everything's working right and prepared to start accepting those applications right away. So as Amy mentioned, there was an educational program on that given by Development Services Department and Anthea Geniotis, who does a fabulous job down there as well. It can be found on the city's website as well. Our city website is just a wealth of information. Sometimes I worry that we have so much there that it can be a little difficult to find things at times, just because there is so much there. If there really is things you want to know about, it's either there or it'll give you the way to contact that person who can help you. So again, we're going to be not just doing building permits online, but all of our development approvals, or at least most of them, shortly after the middle part of the month or so.
Yeah, that's excellent. That's excellent news and improvement. So thank you. I know we have a million partners on the call today, so we should probably get over to them. So if there's nothing else for Jeff, I'm going to hand it over to David.
Thank you, Steph. Well, let's go to Jackie Ramirez, since she started answering Jeff's question. So Jackie, take it away, SBDC.
Thank you. I'm not usually this early, so but I appreciate it.
Want to pass to somebody else?
Well, thank you. I just wanted, first off, Jeff, that was a great coverage of list of items. You've been really busy. I appreciate hearing about that. I wanted to let you know that, first off, we do have another individual from the SBDC that is now housed at the chamber, and that is Jamie Pierre-Louis. He's actually from Delray Beach, and he's a client intake specialist. So if you get a chance and you're in the chamber, please introduce yourself to him. He's really very bright and very individual and loves Delray Beach. So he's very happy being there. We have a few things that are going to be coming out or are starting to come out. We have a trade series workshop, also a business starts workshop. So you'll hear more information about that. If you're interested in either one of those, or you know somebody that is, please let me know and I can talk with them. Of course, the summit that's coming up in August, which is for all of our clients that want to meet each other and go through a lot of events and learning, that's coming available. Also, there are webinars around disaster preparedness, one on the state level. That is a webinar. The disaster contracting preparedness is also a webinar, and we'll put the information and the links on the chamber website. In the case of the disaster preparedness contracts, that's to learn how to participate in the contract process when it comes to services the state needs to send into areas that have been affected. So any small businesses can apply to be part of that system, and I encourage that to happen. So if you know of any small businesses that have services that might be of help during that time, I think we need to get them registered so they can hopefully get involved in that. And that's my summary. So thank you very much.
Thanks, Jackie. David, who do we have next?
Okay, let's go to Amy Alvarez, since she also was part of the last conversation. You still there, Amy?
I am still here. I was talking to IT because I could not find the link for the presentation on Monday about e-services launch. I'm going to put the direct link on YouTube in the chat for everybody, just so you have easier access to the looking for it.
You have anything else to add, Amy?
No, that's what's happening with us right now.
Okay. Next on my list is Gustav from Discover the Palm Beaches. You still there, Gustav? No?
I'm here. I couldn't find unmute myself quickly enough. Yeah, it's been a great May in terms of hotel performance, and June is no stopping that. The FIFA, the Club World Cup, if you've heard about that, there's a training camp in Palm Beach Gardens, training camp in at Wynn University in Boca. So there's a lot of compression that we're going to see in June from that. I want to have a congratulations on the Davis Cup in there, September. That's the time we need events. That's going to make a huge difference for the city, for the county in terms of hotel performance. So that's awesome. And the last thing I want to mention is June 18th, we're going to have the Tourism Master Plan. We're going to have a visioning workshop at the convention center. It's at 8:30 in the morning. Please make it if you can. This is the final kind of, we've done all the research, the ideas, the plan is going to be unveiled. Everyone in the room is going to have a chance to chime in and say, yeah, this is important. This is what we want to move forward in the next 10 years. So if you can make it, please, it's join us. It's June 18th again, 8:30 in the morning at the convention center. Thanks.
Any questions for Gustav? Okay, next on my list is Michael Corbett.
Good morning. Palm Beach County is entering the summer with low unemployment and strong job growth. Unemployment is 3.4%, same as last month. Our labor force is at 664,000 people in jobs. So roughly half the population is working in Palm Beach County. Job gains by industry, education and health services up 6,200 jobs year over year. Government up 1,700 jobs year over year. And trade, transportation, and utilities up 400 jobs year over year. We have begun launching a countywide internship portal. If you go to internpalmbeach.com, you'll see this portal. We want to keep our students, high school and college, here in the county. That would alleviate any talent problems we have if we could do that. We worked with the county and the Business Development Board on this portal, so we're really excited about launching this site. Again, internpalmbeach.com. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. No more questions for Michael. We can go to my good friend Renee Jettison.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, David. Thank you for the presentation, Jeff. Always great, informative. So many things happening at the city. So I'm going to add CRA things to couple on top of that. So at our last board meeting, we've been having a pretty big discussion about the 6, 7, 800 blocks. I'd updated that. The lawsuit's resolved, thankfully. So our big focus now is the Southwest 600 block and trying to attract a grocery store. So that's been a huge topic of conversation. We're going to continue that conversation on to our next few board meetings until we issue a bid, hopefully in August sometime. But in the meantime, we're just kind of putting it out there that we are looking for that. If you all know any grocery developers or stores, we're just trying to get in touch with them to get the word out that this opportunity is coming. There's a few grocery store developers that we have been chatting with. We've also engaged with a commercial realtor, a nationwide commercial realtor, to help us in that effort, as well as in addition to looking for banks and pharmacies and the other priority services from the West Atlantic Needs Assessment and the Set Transformation West Atlantic Master Plan. So, again, locally, just spreading that word that this is something that's coming up, but the first focal point for us will be the supermarket or grocery store on the Southwest 600 block. Also, we discussed the redevelopment advisory committee. We started this last year for 1 year. Our board decided to continue on again with another year. So we are accepting applications if you know anyone who is in the CRA district that would like to participate in this committee. It's a little bit different than the typical like a city board. This is really just a group of people getting together a couple times a year to chat about assignments that our board would want more input on from them, and they all prepare reports, and those reports are given to our CRA board. So it's not a voting type thing. It's more of a collaborative effort for everyone to share their ideas and present those or have those presented to our CRA board. So if you know anyone who's interested, we just opened the applications yesterday. And we also have applications where it takes the applications for 98 Northwest 5th Avenue. That's our building on 5th Avenue. We have 2 commercial bays there. They're about 600 square feet. Rents are under $1,000. This is going to be our last big push to get applicants for these opportunities. We're trying to really find the local businesses and develop and grow them into those spaces. So we opened the applications last year, extended a few times, had a couple review processes, but ultimately decided that we should do one last push to see what we can get from especially our local businesses or any small businesses, maybe home-based businesses that are looking to transition to a brick and mortar. So if you know anyone, that space is available. We also have one space at 135 Southwest 5th Avenue. That's the West Settlers building. There's a tenant there now. I know she's interested in staying, but we have to issue a request for proposals because her lease is up. So that's also there just as an aside, but we also have the 98 Northwest 5th Avenue space available. And another update for Northwest 5th Avenue, we have a ribbon cutting coming up on June 23rd at 5 p.m. So this is for visual adjectives. This is one of our 2 cottages that we have on Northwest 5th. So we're super excited about this. She's a local author, literary company, artist, do many things, but from Delray Beach. She's been at the Arts Warehouse for 4 years in the incubator space, and she applied for our cottage, and she was selected to be a tenant. So please come out and celebrate. We'll have a flyer about this very soon. Just wanted to spread the word. We just decided on the date yesterday, so hot off the presses for you guys. So look out for that flyer, and please, hopefully you can join us to celebrate her. It's exciting to have more businesses and growth. I know she does a lot of work with Speedy. Her son works at Speedy Museum, so there's probably some good synergies between the two since they'll be neighbors. And last two things, Green Market is back on for the summer, so come out and see us at the Old School Square in the Center Grounds area from 9 to 1 o'clock. And then this is First Friday Art Walk, so please also come and support the small businesses that are there and Arts Warehouse. Thank you.
Thank you, Renee. A lot going on from the CRA. Good work.
Thank you.
Chief Mazzio, are you with us? Can we have a report? I see he's on. But... No?
He was on.
He was on. Well, we'll come back to
Mazzio,
you.
do you want to, can you hear us? Okay.
Willie Puzz from SWA, I know you got your hand on the pulse of the legislature. You want to give us any updates you have?
Thanks for that. The House and the Senate are still kind of fighting over their budget line items. They're going to conference. I think that if I remember correctly, yesterday the House said adopt our bill and the Senate said no, adopt our bill. So they kind of said, okay, then we're going to go to conference and try and hash it out into a smaller committee. So that's coming. Everything that I've seen or heard has lent it to like the 19th, the 18th or the 19th is like the target date to have everything done. So we could still see some drama in the budget. From a Solid Waste Authority of Palm Beach County perspective, the 2024 recycling numbers are being finalized. It looks like Palm Beach County is going to be the state's top recycler for the third year in a row. We're very excited for that. And that's not only, residential praise, but that's also business praise because some of that recycling does include business recycling. So it's very important to do that. And the last thing is we are walking down a path for renewable energy facility number 3. So our first renewable energy facility was built in 1989. It was refurbished in 2009. It's at, kind of like an end of life. So we're looking to build the newest North American waste to energy facility, and it's probably going to be about a $1.5 billion price tag. So as we heard from Jeff about small businesses, we do have an active equal business opportunity office that was trying to bring businesses together to try and get that set aside for small businesses. So, Jeff, I don't know, I'm going to be reaching out to our EBO office to see if they're involved with the city in some way, but making sure that we're in tune with that and hopefully getting some smaller businesses involved.
Thank you, Willie. Any questions for Willie? All right. Rob, you want to add anything from the city? I know we got a comprehensive report from Jeff, and do you have anything else to add? No?
Not at this time. Thank you, though.
Okay. Kay Johnson from the library and Delray Chamber Education Fund. Anything to add?
Yeah, I just want to remind everyone that the library is a summer break spot. We are feeding children ages 0 to 17 Monday to Friday between 11:30 and 12:30. You can just show up. And then we have snack between 2 and 4 every day. What's remarkable about that is that we're one of the few sites that is feeding teens. So if you know anybody who needs lunch, kids can come in, particularly the teens can come without a parent, and it is open to everyone, and that is through the end of July. The other thing I just want to remind everyone, the back to school breakfast date is Thursday, August 28th for the Delray Chamber Education Fund's back to school breakfast. Mark your calendar for, as we're just kicking off summer for when we're kicking back to school.
Thank you, Kay.
Stephanie, I think that's it. It's up to you to give us a report from your end.
Okay, so I just wanted to quickly share Chief Mazzio's note about a Pulse Point flyer that he sent out to everyone. So we included it in our government affairs e-blast that went out yesterday. So it also includes information from the fire department as well as what's going on with the city's planning and zoning information. And then there's also an interview with our newest state representative, Deborah Tendrich. So if you didn't get the government affairs e-blast, let me know and I'll send it to you. So for the chamber in June, we're already busy. Our health and wellness roundtable is June 12th. On June 12th and 13th, we have our nonprofit council speakers dinner, as well as a day-long seminar that's really highly subscribed and excellent information for nonprofits for the day-long seminar. So we encourage you to sign up for that. The real estate roundtable will take place at the chamber on June 17th. And that evening, we're going to have a Juneteenth celebration with Spady here at the chamber, but that is sold out and oversubscribed already. So thank you for everyone's interest in coming to that. The YPAD Happy Hour will take place at the Talks. That's a great place to go visit if you want to check out some great health things. I've been there before. And Contacts and Cocktails will be at Hyatt Place on June 26th. So we won't be having a First Friday Forum on July 4th because everyone will be busy and down at the beach on July 4th, but we'll resume on August 1st with Janai Bowens. She's education manager for the city of Delray Beach. And we've got 3 work groups on grade level reading, kindergarten readiness, and workforce development that have been working all year, and they're all producing events this year. So you'll hear a little bit about priorities for that. We've got the U.S. Congressional Representative Lois Frankel on September 5th, and October 3rd, we'll hear from Sherry Bauer of the Atlanta Federal Reserve Bank. So that's what we've got coming up in the next few months. And that's it. So everyone, thank you so much. Thank you to all of our partners that attended today. We had so many of you. And thanks again to Jeff Oris from the city for that great update. So we'll look forward to seeing you all. August 1st is our next one. Talk about education. Thank you, everyone. Take care.
Great.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.